make it! Yeah. Still love that intro. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of the Hardheaded Podcast. I'm Troy, and with me today is Mr. Matt Amos and Mr. Chet Sears. We got an exciting show for you.
Oh, it's very exciting, thrilling, a memorable show.
A memorable show that you're going to want to save and listen to over and over again.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever. We got the top 3 craziest things going on in the news or in the media or wherever you get your news. Craziest thing you've seen lately in the news. And we're going to talk about the past 4 years. What's been going on in the Hardheaded Podcast.
Yeah.
So, let's get her started, boys.
Matt, are you with us today, man? Are you going to tune in?
I'm tuned in.
Huh?
I'm tuned up.
Tuned up?
Did you like how I didn't say as always?
Yeah, because you haven't been. We said last time. That
I know. I listened to it.
He said as always last time.
I did on purpose.
But then we said it wasn't true.
It's not true.
And we had a deal that if Troy ever just canceled last minute, that we just end the whole show. Like, we're done. We're done. We're going to go to an even number episode.
This ever happens again.
And end it. Just shut it down. So Troy, that's the nuclear option, and that's we took it.
Yep.
It is done. I'm just kidding about the reasoning, but we're there.
So we've done 209.
This is 210
episodes.
210.
We did. This is 210. Took us 4 years.
4 years in a week.
4 years in a week. So
Yeah.
what's the math on that? How many weeks is that?
210 weeks.
210 weeks.
Because we did one episode.
That's how good I am at math.
Stick to food, Troy. Stick to food.
I was about to multiply 52 times 4.
Well, the 4 years comes from when we sat down to record last week. That day, I had a memory of our first time we sat down to record in the trophy room.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily 210 weeks from the date we started, but basically we recorded 4 in December, released them the first week of January, and then went weekly from that point forward.
Yeah.
So 200 plus weeks. Every week an episode comes out.
Yep.
On Thursday.
Without fail.
So far.
So go ahead.
So anyway, beyond that, like, have you guys noticed, like, and this is completely off topic, but I just saw a post about one of those, like those meth addicts, they're walking down the street and they're doing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in my office the other day, and I have a window that faces the road, and there's a sidewalk that goes down the road. And there was this dude that was just like having a conversation just like with himself, but then he'd turn around and he'd talk in one direction, then he'd talk in another direction, and didn't really know who he was talking to. And I was like, man, that dude's probably on drugs. Like,
Yeah, I just came across a person doing that exact same thing, standing in a Sonic drive-in stall.
oh, sitting in the stall.
Standing.
Oh, standing.
Just standing in the stall, having a conversation in multiple directions.
Probably thought he was in his car.
She. And I don't think she has a car.
She might have thought she was in a car.
That's what I'm saying.
But then later, because I was there for a long time, I think she was trying to order because she was letting somebody that came out to deliver something to somebody, she's letting them have it about cream and sugar in her coffee.
Oh, goodness.
So,
well,
Sonic ever
that's
even
important.
serve coffee? I don't think so.
yeah,
They do.
Do they?
Green Mountain coffee.
Had no idea.
Yeah, they have a breakfast.
So
They have a decent You need to do their breakfast burrito.
Anyway, I've
thank you.
started playing a game because here's what I've noticed. If you're ever walking in a grocery store and you see somebody having a conversation with themselves, you're like, man, that person's on drugs. And you realize that they've got their earbuds in and they're having a phone conversation. So now I play a game, drugs or earpods.
That's a good game. Earbuds or drugs.
Earbuds or drugs.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But anyway, I mean, I just, I wanted to get that off my chest being as this is the last episode for a while. Anyway.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. Our future episodes are undetermined. We don't know when we're going to be back. We don't know when we come back, how often we're going to be back. We don't know if we're going to have the same show format. We don't know much of anything other than
we're taking a break.
This is the last time we're sitting down and record for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So questions some people might ask is, why are we taking a break?
Why not?
I am
4 years.
basically sick of Chet.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
But you've put up with it for so long.
I cannot do any more.
The restraint that you've been able to have.
It's come to a head.
Yeah, you can't take any more.
I can't do any more.
Yeah. So I mean, my
no, it was kind of we talked about it too a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I really enjoy doing the podcast. I mean, I love actually recording and sitting down to record. But sometimes it's just scheduling is so difficult, especially now with you traveling, and then I'm starting to travel a little bit more, and then Troy's got his stuff going on.
5 kids in sports.
And,
yeah, it's rough.
And all the restaurants that he's got to go to. I mean, now's prime time for getting into a restaurant to do your food thing.
I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I think so one could ask, how did you guys go for this long? Like that would be another one, because most podcasts drop out after like 5. And I think one of the reasons is we just enjoy getting together. Like that's there's been times, and I know you guys may not even agree with this. You'll agree with the front part. It's hard to schedule. It's hard to find the calendar and get everything in there. But
sure.
I'll tell you, and so I've been frustrated with, oh my gosh, when are we going to do this? Can we do that? And I got to move this around so I can be the studio for this, all that. But I've never left a recording any time that we've recorded together and been like, I wish we wouldn't have done that. Like,
it's always
every
been
time
a
it's
good-
like, dude,
Yeah, it's
that
always a good
was
time.
always fun.
I always
So-
learn something from you guys. I've always said, like, I don't watch the news or anything. I get my news from the Hardheaded Podcast.
Yeah. And then, like, you learn math, like how many
Weeks
if
or in a
you
year.
do 210 weeks of episodes, how many weeks did you do episodes?
Actually, 52 times 4 is 208. So we did a couple extra.
Yeah, but we did 4 the first
I know,
recording.
for the first
And
week.
then we threw in that Super Bowl episode that first year, which
That's
was
right.
so stupid.
It was a bomb.
It was really dumb.
We did a couple live. Did we do 1 or 2 live Christmas episodes?
We did a lot, but that was in sequence. Like that was a weekly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did one. I just thought about that the other day because we got our basement dressed up for Christmas, and that's where we did the live Christmas episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's the major news that's going on now.
I think one thing that would get us back in the studio is if we got a recurring sponsor.
Could. Yeah, it could, depending on the
Could
sponsor.
possibly, depending on the sponsor and how much they sponsored us for. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's time for a break. I agree. But I do like the one thing that we always focused on with that Christmas episode and bringing the good word every week. It was good because we are a podcast that does things about things in the world, politics and things going on. Add a little fun with the top 3 and then ending it with, a word about God,
Yeah.
word about Christ,
Well, and that's kind of what we felt, and I can't remember when we brought you into the conversation, Troy, because we were sitting around. Matt and I were working together at the time in the back office, and we just mentioned something. We were talking about a podcast that you were listening to, and then we're like, "Oh, we need to start doing something like that." And you started talking about names, And then we immediately started, so, well, who else would be in it? And then Troy was the only other person that came up. Not to say that, nobody, it's just like, yeah, Troy. And then, okay, next topic. It's like that. That's it.
Well, because we've all done a podcast together before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were kind of, we were on a podcast
So
before. We were on a TV show before. And then, what is out there? Why do we like the podcasts that we listen to? Most of them are conversational. What is a good conversation? And typically with us, we were talking about, what's going on with your life. And then you get in an argument about something, typically, and what's better. And then that's how the top 3 generated. And then when you're ending the conversation, you typically want to send somebody off with a good word. So that's kind of how we discussed the format way back in the day.
Way back.
And then we went around. I wish we would have written down some of the names that we were thinking of. And Hardheaded. We came to you with Hardheaded, or were you part of that text? Because we were just in a room.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was just y'all came to me with Hardheaded.
Yeah. And then what'd we do? You started working on a logo.
Yeah, we got a logo.
And then I got Uncle Bob in on the drawing of the logo.
Yeah, he drew the characters later on. That came a little later. But yeah.
And we started out with having quite a few guests, but then that got real because it was just difficult scheduling with us.
Well, that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Scheduling getting us 3 in a room and then having to schedule a guest as well. But we had some really good guests.
Yeah, I got somebody came across one not too long ago and thought it was like a new release. But it was Jeff Turner's episode talking about how good it was. And it was just kind of neat. And then, I'll tell you a couple of things that I'm proud of about this. Number one, we're not famous at all.
No.
And we're not depending upon the audience of whoever we invite to build our audience, like the guests that we had on were people that we liked and knew and not that had a huge social media following trying to steal.
Right.
So the audience, you that listen, thank you, number one. But it's homegrown. Yeah. And if you look at a majority of the people that are getting into podcasts right now, like Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson have a podcast now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hard to compete with that kind of,
Oh, yeah. And there's one with Jason Bateman and a couple other guys. It's called Smartless or something.
It's just,
I looked at the top 10 the other day because it gives you the end of the year top 10 or whatever.
Jason Kelsey's wife just launched hers, and it beat Joe Rogan in her first episode.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So anyway, we built it from the ground up. From us, which is really exciting. Kind of did it our way, which is also really exciting. Made it to the top 10 relatively quickly. Top 10% in the world, and there was a time there where we bumped up into the top 5%, which was one of my goals was to get better than 10%, which we did for a bit, and then another one. And this is kind of when we got to episode 150. I was thinking, man, what would be a good target? And I was like, 200 would be awesome if we got 200 episodes. Not only do very few podcasts get into the top 10%, top 5%. Very few go 200 episodes. Like if you think of sitcoms, they don't go 200 episodes.
Oh yeah,
it's they may hit 100, they may hit 120. They don't go 200. So not that we're a sitcom. Matt is funny. The goofball.
Well, and if you look at nowadays, Netflix seasons are usually 8 to 9 seasons. They kind of
8 to 9 episodes, yeah.
Well, no, 8 to 9 seasons was
10 episodes.
10 episodes a season is when they usually tap out, and that would be
8 to 9.
Yeah,
I thought it was just 2 or 3.
Well, no, some of the longer ones go 8 to 9, and then they kind of tap out.
Basically, I would basically just say that we accomplished our mission.
Yeah,
we came in when Trump had lost, and it turned into a liberal nightmare, just a soupy mess for the last 4 years. So we harped on how bad it was, and then it turned around.
The whole country turned around.
That's right.
Our influence.
All because of the Hardheaded Podcast.
Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Some of this stuff is going to end up in the Smithsonian, when we're
gone. Yeah, for sure. There's going to be some episodes in there, especially, let's see if we can get this one taken down off of YouTube. Vaccinations.
Oh, we're screwed.
He just said the V word. It's
Yeah.
gone. It's gone.
Are good. Our vaccinations are good. And now we're good. We'll stay.
There you go.
There you go.
I agree. Some are good. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Pick and choose.
not
Pick
all
and
of them.
choose. Yeah.
That's funny that they take our videos down,
But they leave the audio.
but they leave the audio up. Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
weird. Censorship. Gotta love it. What else? What was the goal? Any goals that you guys had?
I had a goal of of getting sponsored, and we actually did
Yeah.
for a time, for 1 month. We got some knives. Are you wearing the hat, or is that a different one?
Oh, it's
a
different.
Different one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a guy that makes knives out of his shed or whatever, garage or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and I really didn't have any goals going into it. I just enjoy hanging out and talking, whether anybody listens or not.
Yeah.
Because this is just basically all we're doing was we're just having a conversation like we would normally have, like you said. So, getting together and then, but, adding to the recording and video and all of that, but
I think
goal wise, I really didn't have any.
I thought about this the other day. You probably have, over the last 4 years, the 4 years we've been doing this, you have your voice recorded in an episode more than you spoke outside of the podcast.
For sure.
Like you have spoken more words to our listeners than people in your life
Than my
have
own,
heard you
for
say.
sure. My own family. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is funny? Like, I've seen you more
Here.
than outside
Yeah.
in life.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I see you more than I see my sister. I see you
Yeah.
more than I see my parents.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, it's been good though.
Yeah.
And I just, and I think, to the point where, you've got some of these podcasts that, have the superstar status, or they're, trying to pull guests that are going to pull ratings or pull views or whatever it is. I think to that point, in order for us to actually continue to grow, we would have to put money into it. To push the podcast out to reach the audience that we're not reaching. And we all know how to do that. We know how easily it's done, target your demographic and do all that kind of stuff. But, at what point, for me,
That's not fun.
it's not fun.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to have to find a sponsor that aligns with your views, that likes what you're saying, that wants to help you push what you're saying out.
Yeah.
And then it becomes more of a job, because then it comes to the schedule, and then you've got to be on point with your schedule, and you can't have, down episodes where, oh, well, I didn't prepare. So, you would have
Which is like 90% of the episodes you recorded.
no, less than that, but
I will say I checked out after episode like 188. I was like,
After that, you're just like, I'm just going to
I'm
show
done.
up and depend on everybody else. And not Matt, because Matt checked out way before that.
episode 1.
Yeah.
But no, but it's, like I said, it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wouldn't mind, and I definitely, wouldn't mind doing more, just not on a consistent, regular basis. And
yeah.
It can be consistent and regular, just not frequent.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Happy
we'll
to
see.
do more.
And I think one of the neat things about the journey has been, we started in the office that Matt and I worked in, and then we went to, when that changed, we went to,
Like Elevate.
We went to my
you had
parents' basement.
Well, you had a shared space.
Yeah, Elevate, right?
Oh yeah, we went there.
We did 5 or 6 episodes there.
Oh, did we?
And then from there, we went to your parents' basement because it was open.
Yeah.
And then from there we went to Trussell Studios.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah, we were in that room first till the podcast studio got kind of
But
redone.
to see, I think one of the neat things has been to see Trussell Media kind of take on a new wing, a new leg of business, not just straight videos, advertising, training, all that kind of stuff. You're like, oh, we would dabble a little bit with this podcast studio. And you've produced
probably 10 plus different podcasts
out of Trussell Media that you didn't even think about that before we started. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good.
Plus 210
Hard-headed episodes. Yeah,
episodes to your name, to your credit.
Yeah,
for sure. Put it on my resume
for the production. You know, I mean,
wait. 209 because we had to do the last one.
He still had to do the production.
Still had to produce it.
That's right. Okay. I was cutting him short.
He had to do all of it because we don't touch the computer.
I did the producing. Y'all were the talent.
Yeah.
Strong words.
That's very strong. That description doesn't fit all the time.
Yep.
Well, cool. Anything else we want to cover there?
I'm good.
You
want to jump into the top 3 craziest?
I will tell you, what's our Facebook handle? Instagram? Hardheaded Podcast at Facebook, whatever?
Hardheadedpodcast.com.
My plan, if I say this out loud, I'll probably end up having to do it. My thought has been during our hiatus, however long that is, I was going to go back in through our social media channel and post old episodes.
Oh, yeah. It's facebook.com/hardheadedpod.
There you go. Facebook.com/hardheadedpod. Find us there. That's still going to be active. I'm thinking maybe we just keep pushing older episodes for the next little while. And you can, especially if you've come to know us here in the last year or so, we've got some stuff that's been out for a long time.
Martin Luther Day.
Did you just see that?
I saw it when you put it out there.
That's good.
Happy Reformation Day. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
That's awesome.
So anyway, there we go. That's what we're doing. We had some nothing but cakes to celebrate and some mozzarella sticks. So this is it for a while. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
2025. Here we come.
Or there we go.
Now we're moving. Now we're moving into the top 3. What?
Top 3 craziest things you've seen in the world today.
All right.
News wise.
Matt, you going first? No. That look. I've understood that look is I
can go
he
first.
looks over and is like, I have not even prepared.
I have actually. I know my top 3.
But you're just not ready.
Well, typically the way we do this is the person who starts has the good word. I don't have the good word.
Oh, I don't have the good. I'll get the good word.
You have so Chet, why don't you start?
Huh? Troy's ready.
I'm ready. I'll start. So this one happened, I guess, about 10 days ago. And I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Saints fan. But the title is This is Madness. But Patrick Mahomes was fined for a violent gesture. Did y'all hear about this?
No.
The guns.
After his...
that's the Texas Tech thing.
Yeah. Because that's where he went to school, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about...
The finger guns.
Yeah. Well, he got fined...
10,000?
10 or 15,000.
That was 10,000.
So this is interesting, and I may be off a little bit on this. So who got knocked out last week? The sliding. Quarterback that was sliding.
Oh, I didn't see it.
And who was that? Did you see that?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Trevor Lawrence is rushing. He's past the line of scrimmage.
He's going to slide.
He gets the first down. He's sliding. He is
sliding.
on his butt. And a dude comes in like helmet to helmet, like I think it was shoulder to helmet. And, hand palms go up. Like one arm
he went stiff.
It is. And I think he got fined like $12,000. The guy that did that.
That dude needs to get fined a lot more than that.
Yeah. 15,000.
And finger guns needs to be not fined at all.
That's
period.
the NFL for you.
We can have guns legally, but cannot make simple gestures.
I have a football one on my top 3 too.
I mean, what the frick?
Yeah.
You know, people came out and were saying NFL is making a huge mistake.
Yeah, the NCAA allows that.
Yeah. It's just a joke. It's the NFL.
They're trying to hold on to Biden era.
They are being woke and pathetic.
Woke things. Like, it's getting ready to change.
How little?
I hope so.
Finger guns, they may get that, but what if you did like a bolt action? Would they understand what that was?
I mean, they can do the sword thing. They can
like
do the sheathe the sword, you know, but they can't.
If you did an over-under, you know, you just breaking the over-under, you know, and then you catch the spent shells up here.
Oh, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. All right, number 2. All right. This is sorry, pulled up an ad. I had a YouTube thing I was going to play, but it's one of these rainbow moms, horrifying response to trans regret question. So she's being interviewed. She's protesting on the Capitol. And the lady interviewing her asks her, you know, so with your trans child, you know, 20 years from now, your trans child comes to you and says, you know, now I can't breastfeed my baby because you let me hurt myself and get rid of my breasts and all that.
Technically, you can't even have a baby based on the hormones they put you on. But go ahead.
But she was asking her this question.
What happens when they're an adult and realize what you let them decide for them to do when they were kids?
Because she's underage. She's 16, and she started asking the questions around 12 because she was just a curious kid. Well, the mother says, that's the least of my worries right now. So it was shocking.
Along those lines, I heard somebody talking about this, saying, you know, the tomboy has gone away. Like the word doesn't even exist to describe anything anymore. Because if you're a parent who over a tomboy, which is typically like a 2 to 3 year span for some girls, like now they're forcing them to become men now. Like you can't be just a tomboy for a little while and then go back to being a lady, you know, when you get older in high school. But
I would have never found my wife. She was a tomboy for a few years.
Yeah, no, you know? They don't have them anymore.
Man.
You're dating a dude.
That dude had 5 children.
I did too. So.
Oh man! And then number 1 was the assassination of CEO United Healthcare person. I thought I put his name here, but I didn't. I put his alleged assassinator, Luigi Mangione. They arrested him today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Have y'all seen anything about this?
Yeah, I have.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think about it? I'm not completely convinced that he did this.
I'm pretty sure there's something more to it than what we know. We know more about him, and when did it take place? On Sunday?
The murder?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, we know more about him than we do the attempted assassinations of Trump.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
It's why?
Brian Thompson, CEO. Sorry.
Why do we know all that? And I saw some of the videos of him leaving the evidence. Like he walked by a trash can and set one of the pieces that they used to identify who he was. Like he just set it on top of the bag. Like not even like breaking it and throwing it in the alley or down a gutter or whatever else. He literally just walked up to a trash bag and sets it. Like knowing it's in a camera. There's just some weird stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
100% weird.
The biggest, like, I shouldn't be, and I'm not using the word shocked because I'm not shocked, but the biggest thing around all this was just the stuff I saw on social media about how, like, lackadaisical people are about all this.
Yeah.
Like a dude got assassinated,
Yeah.
and people are like making fun of it.
Well, celebrating it, saying he deserved it, all this other kind of stuff. It's messed up.
Yeah.
Definitely a different worldview than what we have, where there's a lot of people that think if you're not a good character, it's okay for somebody to shoot you in the back of the leg first. I mean, did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a good shot.
Yeah, the first one didn't go as planned.
No. But anyway, yeah, our response to it's crazy. We also, I mean, not that this guy, initially before we found out who it was, I could see people that have health insurance coverage from United Healthcare, how they could get pushed to their very end because,
Well, yeah.
I mean, my 2 years in the industry, if United Healthcare sucks, like they suck. They that's the one that you get pre-approvals for, and then when you bill against it, they deny it.
I will cover more in my top 3.
Okay. All right. Tell me to shut up.
Nice. So that's your turn, Chet. That was my number 1.
All right. Number 3. Tokyo. The government employees for the city of Tokyo have been granted, from here on out, a 4-day work week. No longer working 5 days a week. Said you guys only need to work 4 days a week. And they kind of hinted at what they want them to do on that day off by saying, and go have more children.
Really?
Yes. Japan
We're
is
giving you an extra day.
Japan is
Bang it out.
Here's a Barry White album.
Here's some candles.
Yeah, but so
We will not be supplying contraceptives as part of our health insurance plan.
The Japanese population is in severe decline. So the average age of the population is growing, which means they're just having fewer and fewer kids, to the point where at this rate the nation's not going to exist much longer.
Wow.
So,
is this one of the nations that told people not to have kids for a long, or was that
that's
China?
just
That's China.
China.
So anyway, a lot of it is, you're in the Japanese culture, work is very important. There's not a lot of space in Tokyo. Like everything's really small. Right. So, and then if you want to advance in your career, you don't take days off. And so they're like, hey, if you had an extra day, you work 4, you're off 3, you have chance to take your kids to the doctor, and you there's time to do all this stuff. You can there's room for a family. Which it's kind of crazy that they're going to this route, but there are some nations, and the U.S. is getting close. So basically, the age, if you looked at the general population and you put it into categories and say like 0 to 5 years old, 5 years, 10 years old, it should be shaped like a triangle, where the larger population is the youngest.
Right.
And where it is right now in Japan, and some, China's there too, it's in an inverted triangle. So the younger population is the smallest population, and then as you get older, the populations get bigger. Where the U.S. is right now is basically a vertical,
Like a rectangle?
Yeah. So we're going from where we should be to an inverted triangle, which is really bad. You could get into some geopolitics with this too. Is maybe one of the reasons that Russia took some of the action that it did, is because it's running out of younger people, and they need more resources to support the older population that they have. So, and it's one of the reasons that I think it's either Russia or Ukraine. If you're 18 to 22, they won't draft you. But if you're older than 22, they will, because they want you to find a woman and start having a family if you're younger, which is pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
So that's
What are abortion laws in other countries?
Man, I'm not that encyclopedia right now. I didn't look into that at all. Definitely, Japan's probably not very pro, I'm guessing. Number 2, the BLM people stepping up off this Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny case. Daniel Penny was the Marine who subdued Jordan Neely, who was cracked out on whatever on the subway, threatening people.
You don't know that. Maybe he had his earpods in.
And now he was like threatening people. Like there's
maybe
video.
he was in a really deep conversation in his earpods.
It wasn't.
He was on K2, wasn't he?
Anyway, the mountain. He's a mountain climber. K2 is the second largest peak and the second tallest peak in the world.
No, he was on the drug K2.
I don't know anything about drugs.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, we've heard.
I used to work for a screening bureau company where I had to learn everything there was to know about drugs.
Okay.
And we had to test for K2. K2 is a bath salt that you sniff or smoke, and it gets you like
Ready to fight?
crazy strong, like can't knock them down.
Where do you get this stuff?
In your bathtub with salt.
I don't have any bath salts.
Go to Emporium Drugs.
And
Check it out.
Or we don't have
this
Emporium
is
here.
definitely
What do we
this
have?
is definitely getting pulled
CVC?
off the internet with all this conversation. But anyway, like the judgment came down. The jury found Daniel Penny not guilty of manslaughter, not guilty of second degree, whatever it was, homicide, negligent homicide. And now they started, protesting and rioting. And I'm just tired of there are things to get really upset about, whatever community you're in. This is not one of them. Like there's no way that this is the one. The dude had 42 arrests. He's a rap sheet, they're like crazy. He was known for beating people up in the subway. Like that's what a lot of his arrests came from. This is not the one.
So you mean to tell me that this dude was on K2,
I'm not telling you that.
according to Troy?
That's what I heard from a news
According to
reporting.
what Troy had heard,
Yeah.
which gets him all jacked up and you can't take him down. But guess who did it?
A Marine.
That's right.
I knew where that was going.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, the clip that I heard, like, she was explaining K2 what the drug does to people. If they knew he was on that, you don't want to let him up. Because if you let him up, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
Like, the drug is makes you that crazy. It's the bath salts are the ones people were walking around biting people.
Oh, wow.
Back 8
8
years ago or so when it was a big thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Number one, I told you it was going to be football, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to dive deep into your football knowledge. I would have flunked this test. I don't know where it is right now. Honestly, I don't. But I remember when this happened. The number one sack leader in all of NFL football. He's now a daytime talk show host.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Strahan.
Michael
Strahan. Strahan.
Yeah.
Do you remember the controversy about the sack that put him over to be the number one sack leader?
No.
He was playing against Brett Favre. And the claim is that Brett took a dive. Like Strahan's here. This is his, he's about to retire. He can get the record. And he made it. Brett made it where he could get sacked. Like that. And I remember that being a much discussed thing.
Now that you say that, I kind of do remember that.
All right. Well, the guy that he passed, Mark Gastineau, was the sack leader up until that point. All right.
I just looked it up.
So Brett Favre is at a signing event, and Mark Gastineau confronts him. This is how many years ago did Strahan get the record?
Oh gosh, 20?
I don't know, but here we go, folks.
When you fell down for him, I'm gonna get my sack.
Oh, here we go, right here.
You
I
tell
thought we
him.
met a long time ago. At least I
Yeah.
saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him, I'm gonna get my sack back. I'm gonna get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
That is messed up.
Met a long time ago.
So that guy.
Right.
How you doing?
When you
Sorry.
felt
That dude is mic'd up. You could hear him when he's like, "You hurt me." He's pounding on his chest where there's a microphone. And so he went to create this viral moment of like, what in the world?
It's on ESPN.
This
Clip, this like whole thing about it.
yeah.
Yeah, so he just needed some money. Man, he just needs some money, Chet.
Look, dude,
Come on, man.
Don't go dredge that up. I mean, if some kid beats your, has a wind-aided 400 meter and beats your record and they didn't label it as a wind-aided, are you going to go 20 years from now and like have a fit?
I will go protest.
Yeah? You're going to do it? You hurt me.
I mean,
Oh, man.
who? Those are the people that pin their life on one thing.
Yeah, no doubt. No,
My life
it's
is
clear.
not. My life is not pinned, but on only one thing.
And so that's the craziest thing. I saw that today, by the way. That is the craziest thing that I've in the news. And the other thing is Brett Favre was being very polite when he said, "I want my sack back. I'm going to get my sack." Like if he was going to tackle him right there. And Brett was like, "Oh, you'll probably hurt me." Ain't no way. That dude was like almost on a cane, and Brett Favre is jacked still. So he was being very polite to the gentleman that was upset about that. So
Yeah.
that's my top three.
Yeah, it's on ESPN's YouTube channel.
You hurt me.
You hurt me,
I'm gonna get my sack back.
man.
It was on ESPN 30 for 30. Man, I'll just say it.
Gay. What was on ESPN? The dive? Not this. This happened recently.
No, it's like a ESPN 30 for 30 whole video segment about how he confronted Favre.
How long ago?
Mark Gastineau confronted Brett Favre for diving against Strahan 8 hours ago.
That's not a 30 for 30. They don't produce 30 for 30s in 2 hours.
It's in the title. It might not be, but it's on ESPN's YouTube channel. It was released 8 hours ago.
Well, maybe it was a clip that they used for the 30 for 30. I don't know.
Look, it's called, on ESPN's latest 30 for 30, the New York Sack Exchange, former New York Jets defensive end.
Oh, you're right. You're 100% right.
Confronted Brett Favre. But that's kind of, that's just.
Then ESPN's going to profit off all that.
Well,
ESPN must have mic'd him up. They instigated this.
Yeah,
It's all for views.
Is Favre?
I wish I would even brought it up.
Is Favre Mike though? Did he know about it?
No.
Are we sure?
Pretty sure. Based on the way I'm reading the body language and how his handler was like, "You got to go, Brett. Like we got to go do this other thing."
Yeah.
But he wasn't in on it.
I don't know, man. It smells all around. It stinks.
Yeah.
Dog pile.
No doubt.
Yep. All right, Matt. Top three. What do you got?
Well, you guys basically took it all.
No.
Number 3, Daniel Penny.
Okay. You got any more to add?
Number 2, United Healthcare killer. However, on the United Healthcare killer.
Yes, let's hear it.
So, on the spent casings, they found words on 3 of the casings.
Were they spent casings or were they
As far as I understand,
full rounds?
spent.
Okay. I've read several different articles about it, and sometimes they call them rounds and not spent rounds, and other times they call them casings. And I was wondering if he didn't just like drop them somewhere.
So from what I understand, they were spent casings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there were any, because people say that the gun jammed, but apparently the type of gun that he had, it had been identified. You actually have to, It's got a integral suppressor, so it's not. It's very
Prone to not cycle.
nope. You have to rack it anyway. From what I'm hearing, because it's some type of rare British firearm,
That shoots 9mm?
and 1 round rack, so there wouldn't be any spent shells if that's the way that firearm operated. I don't know for sure, but that's what I read. That would explain having to rack after every shot.
But did he rack after every shot?
I think he did. I've watched it a few times, and I'm trying
It
to line
almost
it
looks
up.
like he gets off 2 shots, and then it malfunctioned on the second shot.
He got off the one,
Yeah.
shoot him in the leg, racked, fired again, racked.
He's really dumb because he did this at a distance. Like,
What kind of gun did he use?
I don't know. From what I saw, from what I read on one of the channels, it said it was some type of rare British, and that's why it was easy to track. But anyway, so on the spent casings, whatever, if they were spent, not spent, were inscribed "deny, defend, depose," which links to a book,
deny,
defend, delay.
Which is about how the healthcare people don't pay their. Yeah.
So working in the prosthetics industry, and which I've recently just been going through and doing a mind-numbing spreadsheet on insurances, what we bill out, what our usual and customary is, and what Medicare pays, and then what United Healthcare pays. So let's just say for this one certain code, it's like an L1960, whatever, basically like just a brace for your foot. Our usual and customary across the board, $1,429.12.
Mm-hmm.
Medicare pays $1,193.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. United Healthcare pays less than $700 for that same thing. And then if you look at like some of the Arizona AFOs and stuff like that, or SMOs, we pay $500 by the time we're in it for this brace, and they pay $555.
Yeah.
You can't sustain that. And that's when they approve it.
Yeah, they deny everything first.
For 100%, everything is denied that comes through as not medically necessary or need more documentation. Need this. Medicare doesn't ask us any questions. Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't ask us any questions. Aetna doesn't ask us any questions. But it's just like all of a sudden it's United Healthcare, Optum, because they're all in that same.
Yep.
So I see, and these are prosthetics, which they deem, somebody who's missing a leg, that this isn't medically necessary. It's like,
right.
It kind of is.
Yeah. And pre-approved. Like, I'm going to go get a prosthetic. Can I go get a prosthetic? I'm going to go get it here.
Yeah,
yes, go get it. And then they file it and they're like, no, denied.
Nah, denied.
Yeah.
And then the company is out that money.
Yeah.
And for a second there, I thought it might have been somebody I knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's bad. And you're talking about prosthetics. They're that evil on. How bad are they when it comes to treatment?
Heart surgery,
cancer. What's the one with the kidneys where you go
dialysis? Yeah.
It would be super easy for somebody to get pushed to their edge to where they need to affect change somehow.
Right.
And I think that this guy is like, well, I'm going to do it the only way I know how. Do I agree with it? No, murder's never right. Not at all. But I understand it.
Yeah, but this guy wasn't that way.
We don't know that yet.
No, we do.
They just captured him.
Yeah, but he's like a multi-millionaire. He comes from a family that's like worth $600 million.
Maybe he's a Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
he's not helping anybody.
So
he just murdered somebody.
But there's a reason. So we don't know.
Everybody has a reason. It doesn't mean it's good.
I'm curious to see, because he's supposedly Ivy League educated from from what I hear.
If he wasn't set up,
he may have been set up. I don't know, but I just think that as we start peeling back the onion, it's going to just be, and it's proof. It's proof that in this day and age, we're so far gone that nothing is believable. The misinformation, disinformation campaign.
how do we? I'm just you go back to how do we know more about this guy in 3 days than what we know about one assassin that got his shots off, and then another one who got arrested and is alive.
Well,
He was waiting at the golf course. We don't know anything about these guys.
Well, and I don't claim to know. Maybe one is because it's presidential and it's under federal investigation, and one was under.
I'm just telling
State.
you, man.
Well, and if this guy did it, why didn't he flee and get away?
Maybe
Like, try to get away.
that wasn't his intended purpose. Maybe it's to get in front of a stand, and
Then go turn yourself in.
he wanted to make a. I think he wanted to make a mark.
He wanted to get caught at McDonald's.
Well, or
It's like,
maybe,
man,
I need to get it. It's McRib season.
I saw that meme. He's like, man, McRib's a limited time. I got to stop and get one.
well, who knows? Maybe because he was there. He had everything with him that needed to solidify that he's the guy. Maybe he goes up and he's just like, hey, I'm going to go have a seat over there, but I'm the guy that everybody's looking for. If you want to make a quick 10 grand, just call up, let them know that I'm here.
Yeah.
And maybe he did it that way.
Maybe so.
Anyway, it's an interesting case that remains to be seen. I'm just curious to see where it goes.
Right.
And then the last one I've got is the public executions in Syria. Syria is kind of going through a phase, we'll call it right now, where I don't even, what would you call it? Like a resistance is going through against Assad.
They've been under a civil war for like 10 years.
But now they've
ousted Assad. He's in Russia. He and his wife.
Oh, I didn't know he got to Russia.
Oh yeah.
He did.
He's 100% in Russia under the protection of Putin. The whole reason his regime fell is he started running out of money. Government started running out of money because Iran was getting tied up with Hezbollah, and then Israel started whacking Hezbollah and, did the whole beeper thing, and Iran was taking their eye off of Syria. And then Russia and Iran were the two major supporters of Assad in Syria. And so Russia's got their hands full right now. And so they kind of this resistance that's been there for a long time had the opportunity to kind of just bulldoze everything and ran Assad out. And now the regime that's taking over is much more brutal than
Assad.
From a cultural perspective. Assad was one of the most evil men, like the Sadnaya prison. I don't know if you've seen some of that stuff.
I was reading some of that stuff on how brutal some of those tortures were and all that kind of stuff. And there's some guy who
they
got
haven't
out.
found everybody yet. They're still digging in underground cells. And when we think prison cells, we're thinking like our prison cells. Like they have like barrels with holes in them that they're storing people in as a prisoner. I mean, it is inhumane what they're doing and that was anybody that resisted Assad.
Right.
So I listened to something about this today. One of the people groups that has been left alone there for a while has been the Christian population. So Syria, Damascus is in Syria, Aleppo is in Syria. Going all the way back to the birth of Christianity, Syria's been involved.
Right.
And so there's a pretty strong Christian population. About 10% of the population in Syria is Christian up until Assad, and the regime that's taken over is like going to stomp out the Christians. Now, that doesn't mean Assad was a good dude.
Right.
Like, he was not. If you opposed him, you were in prison.
Right.
And your family.
But this is more like, this would be more like Al-Qaeda type.
Yeah.
Or Taliban-ish. Taliban.
The Shia and the Sunnis.
Mm-hmm.
The
Those
Shia
are
is the
civil.
Yeah, but the Shia is the more hardcore.
I forget.
Yeah,
it's
the ones that align.
More with extreme Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's tough. And I mean, I've seen some images from those prisons, but I've also seen, one of the dudes, the cousin of Assad, who they didn't really like either. He was a handful, But they just left him be. Like everybody who Assad wanted out kind of got out family member wise, but they left his cousin or something behind, and they strung that dude up quickly. They got a hold of him. Yeah.
Crazy times.
Well, and we just don't think about, there's nations that have been at civil war for the last decade. And I don't know, I heard Trump talking about a clip from him. I don't know when it was, but like the Taliban and who's the other group? Terrorist organization that was in Afghanistan. ISIS,
yeah.
The Taliban and ISIS are going at it right now. And he was being asked about, when you become president, are you going to kind of step in and create? And he's like, why? Like, let them fight. Let
them kill each other.
Well, not only that, if they're occupied with that battle, then
they don't have time for anything else.
They don't have time for anything else. Like, why would we step in there and
Well, what we do is we wait until they're both weak after 5 years of war, and then we go in, dominate, take all of their oil, take all of their assets, take literally everything, turn it into a Christian nation, and then be done.
Because we have such a good record of
doing
going
that.
in and stabilizing things.
I didn't say stabilize. I said turn it into a glass factory, and then we're going to rebuild a Christian nation.
I'm not a proponent.
We're going to put the American flag right on the ground.
That's
it's
not gonna
ours.
work.
It's no longer yours. We're taking it.
Look,
We're just going to go for global domination.
you go ahead, man.
That's Marine talk.
Yeah. Yeah. You have some scarring from your time over there.
I'm just saying, let's stop beating
Physically
around
and
the
mentally.
bush.
You left
Let's
some of
just
yourself over there.
Take it.
Turn the place into a glass factory, including the pieces that I left.
Yes,
Yeah.
including.
All right.
Oh, man.
So I guess I'll close this out with a good word. If you've listened to us for any amount of time, I hope the message that you got from us was, we have some fun talking about glass factories and watching Lonesome Dove and Troy's math skills and his Birkenstocks and
My Birks.
His weed.
the 3 shots and the fact that I can't beat Matt at sporting clays, which is a myth. And
Fact.
but if you've heard us every episode, we try to bring you back to what the real truth, what really matters. And I'll leave you with an encouraging word out of Romans chapter 12, verse 2. So we'll leave this one with you until we meet again. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. A lot of times, especially when we struggle, we always want to find out what God's will is. Here's a verse that tells you what it is, and it's saying, don't line up with the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The best way to renew your mind, to transform your mind, is to get in the Word. So that is what we will leave you with. Just draw close to God. He's there. He will show you his will. And as it says here, his will is good, it's pleasing, and it's perfect.
All you got to do is ask for it.
And we can't put in the normal see you next week end of the show. So you got to take us out.
All right. That's it. That's a wrap, folks.
We'll see you next time.
Whenever that
see
is.
you again.
Appreciate you listening.
Oh, that's yours.
Hey, you can still share all our episodes too.
Open it up.
I can't.